Hi, I'm Chloe Grimling, and I'm the Youth Governor of Kentucky Youth Assembly 2.
Hi, I'm Chase Colvin. I'm the Secretary of the Executive Cabinet.
Hi, I'm Maggie Stone, and I'm the Secretary of the Cabinet of Justice and Public Safety.
Hi, I'm Jordan Richmond. I am the Cabinet Secretary for Education and Workforce Development.
Hi, I'm Kate Rousey. I'm the Cabinet Secretary for Economic Development.
Hi, I'm Maddie Meyer. I'm the Secretary for the Cabinet of Health and Family Services.
Hi, my name is Amelia. I'm the Cabinet Secretary for Labor.
Okay, so now we're going to answer some questions. If you want to start, Kate.
So a lot of frequently asked questions is what does the Economic Development Cabinet really do? And we look to foster and build the economy, infrastructure, and bring business to the Commonwealth.
So then my cabinet, Education and Workforce Development, our whole thing is trying to increase or improve the school system and also helping to create new and healthier work environments in the state of Kentucky.
Basically what my cabinet does, we focus a lot on like criminal justice, things like that. So we are, basically just focused on keeping our citizens safe and secure.
My office specifically oversees our workforce development and labor regulations. Some really specific responsibilities include unemployment insurance, job training, and workforce development, as well as worker protections.
My Cabinet of Health and Family Services is focused on the mental and physical well-being of Kentuckians, specifically focusing on the families such as social working, all of those things.
Chase, considering that you're ahead of all of them, do you feel it's really difficult to balance kind of working between 5 different lenses?
I think it's a really interesting perspective because I'm able to see a lot of overlap that they take. I mean, we have the economics, education and workforce, and the labor, which, I mean, just hearing their little summary of what their cabinet does, you can definitely see some overlap there, and it's really interesting to see the different perspectives they each take on it. I know some of Amelia's bills, she has one related to the environment, which isn't necessarily impacting the labor development or the labor force, but she takes a really good lens and perspective on that with a focus of her labor.
And to kind of add on to that, being governor, kind of overseeing everything, the research that I do is very general, whereas all of them kind of narrow in and hone in on specifics. So it's very interesting to hear specific details that they've gathered when I speak with each of them individually, and all of them have come very well prepared and are very well supervised by Chase. So, yeah, thank you. Anything you guys would like to add?
Is there another question you would like to answer?
Yeah. Do you want to start?
I'd just be interested to hear what everybody's cabinets are kind of like dealing with right now in terms of challenges and what you guys are focused on with that. Yeah, of course I can. So the cabinet of, Justice and Public Safety, again, we focus a lot on criminal justice. And something that I am really passionate about and I found really interesting in researching for this is some of the issues that Kentucky's juvenile detention centers have had with not providing adequate resources to their inmates and actually violating some national standards. And so I've done a lot of research into that and learned a lot about the federal investigation that's actually going on with Kentucky's DJJ and how that's kind of playing out. So.
Yeah, and then my department, one big thing that we did last year, Governor Andy Beshear announced a new program for Kentuckians. It's called Quest, Quality Jobs, Equity, Strategy, and Training. With this Ready Industry program, it will help Kentuckians find work in these high-demand industries, and will even will improve the school system, helping find teachers and other different things like that.
Yeah, I'll go next. So here in economic development, we've been rising. We've been doing a lot of things. Well, we have faced some challenges. Some of the challenges we've faced is we don't have a lot of existing infrastructure in Kentucky, and we're trying to build off that. Another thing is we just have low workforce participation coming out of the pandemic. A lot of people got to stay at home during that, and they're continuing to stay at home instead of continuing into the workforce, which it's hard to build infrastructure around that. And then a lot of like high special degrees can't find work here in Kentucky. There's only a limited number of jobs in tech, and we're trying to bring more like tech firms and stuff like that to Kentucky to bring more people here to try and build our infrastructure and economy.
Okay, for health and family services, right now in Kentucky, there's an estimated 1,774 children waiting to be adopted or placed in foster homes. And we are really lacking in our foster home community. Very low rates in the amount of foster homes versus the amount of kids needing foster homes. Because even with cases of adoption, you can be in foster homes up until the adoption is finalized.
So a large thing my cabinet oversees is unemployment insurance, and something that we're struggling with and that we need to focus on is a modernization of the unemployment insurance system. So our current platform has struggled, particularly during surges like during COVID. And we're working with vendors to build more resilient systems, but we've also faced a lot of budget cuts as well as labor cuts and shortages for our department, so ensuring that we are able to continue our work despite these things is of the utmost importance.
Yeah, I was wondering just in like maybe a few words or a sentence stressing why it's so important for Kentuckians to know about your specific cabinet and like the important work that you guys do.
Yeah, I'll start. So I think the infrastructure and economy is very important for every American, every Kentuckian, every citizen anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, because that's what you rely on every single day. If the stock market crashes or something happens to your economy, you're going to definitely feel it in your pocket. You're going to feel it when you go to your work, your job, anything like that. So I think economic development is a very important thing here in Kentucky.
And then focusing on the education part of my cabinet, Kentucky has a massive teacher shortage at the moment, and this not only, it affects every part of our lives. It affects the knowledge of our past, it affects our present, and it primarily affects our future. Children are our future, and it's very important that everybody is advocating for teachers and advocating for improving the workforce so that we can do everything that we need to and offer opportunities that every Kentuckian deserves.
Sorry. I think for me, personally, I feel like kind of like our prison system and like, you know, prison industrial complex and things like that, like that's kind of one of almost like the last frontiers in terms of like progressive legislation, I think. For like so long and like historically, just people in prison have been horrifically mistreated, and just like I feel like they're often kind of like the most left behind people in our society, especially in our state, despite making up, you know, a large percentage of our population like has been in prison or is formally incarcerated. And I just think it's really important that people know that even though incarcerated individuals may have committed crimes and they may have been involved in this, that doesn't mean that they lose their humanity, and that doesn't mean that they lose their human rights. And I think that it's very important that we are advocating for these people and that people are aware of how they're being treated, because even though they're incarcerated, they're also our fellow Kentuckians. So, yeah.
So bouncing off of what Jordan said, children are the future of America, and the place that starts is in the home and in the families. And with the lack of homes for children in Kentucky, every child deserves to grow up with like a loving environment and in a home that with people that care about them. And the main focus of like, you know, focusing on the family and finding those children homes that they need is the future of America.
So we focus a lot on infrastructure and things like that, but there are also the things that we do one-on-one with people, such as our unemployment benefits, which I talked about previously. And I think it's important for people to know about this cabinet, because if you don't know about this resource, you can't benefit from it. And it's really important in times of crisis, but also in times of displacement from a lot of the natural disasters we've been facing, that people are able to obtain these resources because they rely on the money they get from their paychecks for their livelihood. And ensuring that all Kentuckians have access to this resource and have access to these programs ensures that they are able to continue living comfortably.
I think something that I'd be interested in hearing a little bit more about from my fellow cabinet secretaries is kind of like Kentucky's unemployment situation. I feel like a couple of you guys are really like fixated on that in what you're working on, and I was just curious, like, why does Kentucky have like such an issue with like unemployment and like workforce development, and like how are we trying to combat that and fix that, and what do you guys want to see being done about that?
So a big part of the workforce, as I've said before, is the teacher shortage. There are currently 2,400 vacancies in the state of Kentucky for teacher positions. And then this shortage is currently being combated with the KHEAA. They currently have a teacher scholarship program that is helping to improve the path to becoming a teacher. Teachers can get a lot of scholarship and financial aid from that resource, and it's a really great way to, yeah.
I feel like here in economic development, it's just a lot of the rural areas. There's not as many jobs, and a lot of these people, if they're looking for a job, it's hard for them to, in about a 20-mile radius, to find a job. So I think that's a really big part of it. Is for some of these jobs, they get more money from a stipend staying at home than what they would if they went to go work that job.
Yeah, and with that scholarship I mentioned, it's primarily focusing on public schools. So anybody that's interested in that is a really great resource.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about the benefits you can receive from our department with unemployment, but we are doing a lot to try to combat the labor shortages and a more inclusive labor. So one of the issues we see right now is that there are more job openings than available workers in some particular sectors, especially like higher skilled workers. So for that, we want to focus on amplifying investments and apprenticeships, and have some more targeted recruitment programs. And another big issue we see is a lack of inclusivity in our workforce, particularly for disabled Kentuckians. There is a less of an opportunity for them, so even if they do want to work, they are often written off because of their disabilities, and we want to ensure that this is combated. And one of the things we're doing for this is working to expand our Employment First Council to ensure that all Kentuckians have the opportunity to work if that is what they are capable of doing.
On the health and family services side, there's a large turnover in social workers right now, the people that are employed to do that. And it's mostly due to the high volume of cases and the low amount of pay that they're receiving for that. And so,
What are some of your old favorite bills that you've seen?
I think
We have a meeting.
I think we have it all the time. I think we get all the time we can.
Okay.
We gotta go to GA soon.
It was good to hear from everyone. Thank you guys for being on this team and helping both Chase and I get a lot of insight about these bills so we can ultimately better Kentucky.
Thank you.
Are we clapping for ourselves right now?